Liverpool versus Tottenham Saturday at 2:45 p.m. A kind of rare Saturday night game for the Premier League. You don't see a whole lot of these during the year. Pool is minus 220. Spurs is plus 600. The draw is plus 390. Pool minus a goal and a half is plus 130. Spurs is minus 145. So I am going to be a broken record. You're probably going to say something more interesting. As long as they are at the top of the title chase, which they still are, they're 1 point back from Pool, sitting on 82 points. I'm sorry, 1 point back from City, 82 points versus City's 83. I'm just going to keep taking them. I'm going to keep taking them. They're the most informed team in the world right now, and they no longer have to worry about kind of midweek games. They have the FA Cup coming up in a week from Saturday. Then they have the Champions League final, but they no longer have to qualify for the Champions League final. So they're finally able to get back to just focusing on winning the Premier League. And this team, if it is focused, is unbeatable by anybody but a handful of teams in the world. And yes, they might slip up and draw at some point. And yes, it's absolutely possible, but I'm taking the minus 220. I'm going to look at to pair it with something else to make it slightly tastier. And as good as Spurs are, and as good as they can be, and as much motivation they have, they're just not in Pool's class right now. So I would not take the plus 600, even though the odds look pretty good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the first half against Villarreal was a little concerning for Liverpool. They really were outclassed by the 7th place team in Spain in a match that they should have, walked all over them. But at the same token, they played a lot better in the second half. And then also that was time with Luis Diaz coming on. And Diaz, his signing for Liverpool, I think we're going to retroactively look back at this. And, when I saw it in January, I was like, oh, this is like a future move. Like they're going to add a little depth this year, but he's probably, going to allow them to not have to, overpay Sadio Mane to stay, or maybe this is going to be leverage in like the Mo Salah contract negotiations or whatever. And he has come in and has taken them to a completely different level. And part of it is because like Jota, who lit the Premier League on fire early on. His goal scoring was unbelievable. He was emerging as probably maybe one of the class finishers in the Premier League. And he is now arguably like Liverpool's 5th most important attacker right now, because Mane has seemed to find new life playing through the middle of their 4-3-3 with Diaz on the left and Salah on the right, because Diaz does like wingery stuff. When Jota and Mane play, it's kind of like playing with 2 straight strikers at this point. Like both those guys, like their biggest contribution to a team is just getting on the end of balls in the box at this point. Diaz is does a lot of shit that helps set up shots. Like he dribbles into dangerous areas. He puts the ball into the box, so now you have another world-class creator, it looks like, going up against Mo Salah, who's transitioned a little more, and this happens with age too, from goal scorer to creator, plus Trent Alexander-Arnold, who went very high in our draft last week. So like this team has just skyrocketed to another level, and they still have a ton of depth. They can rotate their entire midfield. Like Curtis Jones would start for like 15 other Premier League teams. So I as concerned I am that maybe they're getting worn down and that they had to really put their foot on the gas to get by Villarreal, I just can't pick against this team. I'm not super comfortable with the spread. Like I would take the money line of minus 210, even though it isn't great value. But like this team is just at another level. I think they are officially the best team in the world, and Spurs are way too inconsistent for me to trust them to do anything.
Yeah. Well, it really shows where Salah peaked as a goal scorer when you say he's transitioned more into a playmaker. In a year, he's still going to win the Golden Boot. So it just really kind of speaks to just what heights that guy has been at over the last 3 or 4 years. I said I was going to try to find some way to make this tastier. And so the way I'm going to do that is on my prop, which is over 2.5 goals, minus 180. Spurs, I think it's a pretty good chance they get on the score sheet. Yeah, and so if they get on the score sheet, then your bets are correlated anyway, right? Because now Pool's got to score at least 2 to win. You automatically hit the over. So I actually aren't afraid to hit the same game parlay, because if you like Tottenham to score, you might as well parlay them together and increase your odds. So instead of getting Pool at minus 220, you get the two of them together, Pool minus 220 and the over of 2.5 goals. You can get that down to minus 110, which is going to be something you hear about later in the 5-pint.
Well, this is gonna be a little boring because I'm gonna juice it up a little bit though. You went 2.5. I'm actually gonna juice it up to 3.5 to get the little bit better pricing for it at plus 130. I just think there's going to be some squad rotation out of Liverpool. Like I just don't think they're going to risk Thiago. He's played a ton. He already has injury concerns. Hendo was held out of the Villarreal game. And when, Keita comes in, he's better in the final third. Like he played the pass into Mane in the Champions League semifinal, but like they're not as good defensively. And we've talked about this before. Who Liverpool plays in the midfield changes the type of team that they become. So if you do see a Curtis Jones, Naby Keita in midfield, or like Hendo playing the 6 because Fabinho gets rotated out, I really definitely would then push the over 3.5 goals. Definitely the over 2.5, but I would maybe even take the better pricing at 3.5.
Yeah, and I often try to sway towards unders just because, the public pricing always pushes the over a little bit off the odds. But it can't be overstated, and we've seen it in Manchester City the last few weeks. Like this thing could come down to goal differential. It's something we've talked about a lot on this show.
Yeah.
So until Liverpool or Manchester City slips up, I am basically taking the over and them to win every single time they step on the pitch in the Premier League because that's what they're motivated by. And we saw Manchester City, kind of almost go out of their way to run up a bunch of goals, and they've already got the goal differential down from 6-1 in just a couple of weeks. And so it's clearly on everybody's mind that that's what it could come down to. And so when you have this talented players playing this well with the stakes this high, give me the over. So before we move to the next game, Brett, I want to give you one other quick question. I know I said no thought exercises, but let's just do one really fast one. Over under number of trophies Liverpool ends the season with 2.5. Which side you taking?
Oh man. Oh, that's a good line. Can I get your guess before I give mine? The FA Cup worries. I think that's something that they could lose. I don't know if it'll hold the importance it does. I'm going to just say the under. I think they can get Champions League, and they already have the Carabao Cup. I'm a little worried about the FA Cup for them. And I mean, wresting the title away from City is going to be, it's a good line, but it's going to be tough. What would you take?
Well, first of all, isn't that an insane conversation that we're having in May that the quadruple is absolutely in play and they have a shot at 4 and we're setting a 2.5 line. So like the sad thing is like you start talking to Liverpool fans because everything is possible right now. And if you say under on 2.5 and I say under on 2.5, they call us haters. It's like, my God, like what kind of form are they in when we're hating saying you pulled a double? With the most prestigious trophy still to be won. I guess if it was a League Cup double, that wouldn't be satisfying. But they went either the Premier League or the Champions League to tie with the Carabao Cup. I mean, 18 out of 20 teams in the Premier League would kind of gnaw their hands. Actually, 17. Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City would be expecting those results. Everybody else would sacrifice limbs or firstborn children to get it. I'm gonna take the over. Take the over.
Which ones we obviously know one is in the bag. Which other two are they getting then, in your opinion?
I like them to win the Champions League. Basically, the only argument for Madrid is irrational, not rational. It's like it's written in the stars. They're on this fated journey through the pool. I mean, we've seen that happen in the past, right? Like one of the most notable times with Chelsea in 2012 when they kind of had comeback after comeback after comeback and then won on pens in the final against better opposition. So it's possible Madrid's going to win, but I like Pool to win the Champions League.
We'll talk. Hopefully we'll have our podcast of this, but the Mo Salah revenge narrative is going to be great. I hope underneath his jersey he has a fuck Sergio Ramos thing that he gets to pull up every time that he scores.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I'm sure we'll do a Champions League preview, but it's also fascinating that Real's not going to play a competitive fixture until that game since they've already won the league.
Yeah.
And Liverpool's going to have to burn through it. So they're either going to be like iron sharpens iron or, they're going to be burnt out by that game. So
Yeah.
Before I get my final prediction, I certainly want to observe how that happens. And I actually want to see Madrid play a little bit because they can't sit Benzema for like a month and then expect him to just unwrap him in the Champions League and still be on current form, the best player in the world. And then it's just a matter of odds after that. If I really feel that confident about the Champions League, they're a better team than Chelsea. They beat them in the Carabao Cup. They're over 50% there. They're probably, 65, 70% likely to win that one. And it's calling 30 to 40 to win the Premier League. And it's just mathematically, I'm going to take the over. But I just hats off to them. Like going from where they were in January to this conversation we're having right now, they have been absolutely on fire in this calendar year.
Yeah, I mean, the signing of Diaz and the addition, and obviously Thiago getting healthy and pretty much playing every match has just it's just taken them to a whole other level. And it's the craziest thing about it is this is the richest league in the world with another super team and basically like 5 of the top 10 teams in terms of total revenue. And Liverpool could win 3 domestic trophies and the Champions League despite that. Like that is bonkers. It's hard to even process.